Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Leap podcast, your English podcast for real conversation practice and easy English in daily life.
Yes, the place where we turn tricky, real-life conversations into confident English.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake. Great to have you with us today.
So, Jake, quick question. Do you ever avoid disagreeing with someone in English just because you're not sure how to say it politely?
Oh, constantly. Honestly, in my first language, I disagree pretty easily. But in English, sometimes I just nod along even when I completely disagree because I'm scared it'll sound rude.
So relatable and honestly such a common message we get. Anna, Jake, I know how to agree in English, but disagreeing feels so much harder.
True, and it's actually a really important skill because disagreeing is a completely normal, healthy part of any conversation, at work, with friends, in relationships.
Exactly. And today we're fixing that. Today's episode is all about how to disagree politely in English without sounding rude, without sounding weak, and without avoiding the conversation altogether.
This is such a valuable, practical skill because the goal isn't to avoid disagreement. It's to disagree in a way that keeps the conversation respectful and honestly often more productive.
Beautifully said. By the end of this episode, you'll have a full toolkit of phrases for disagreeing gently, disagreeing firmly but politely, and even disagreeing in professional settings.
Quick favor before we start. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like this episode, subscribe, and share it with someone learning English.
And comment below. Tell us, do you find it easy or hard to disagree in English? We genuinely love reading your comments.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, let's start by understanding why this specific skill trips up so many learners.
Great question. Reason 1, fear of sounding rude. Many learners worry that disagreeing directly, "No, I don't think that's right," will come across as harsh or confrontational.
True, and honestly, sometimes it can if said too bluntly, without any softening language. So that fear isn't completely unfounded, it just needs the right tools.
Reason 2, cultural differences. In some cultures, disagreeing with someone, especially someone older or in authority, can feel very uncomfortable or even disrespectful. So switching that habit into English conversation feels unnatural at first.
Reason 3, direct translation. Some learners translate disagreement phrases word for word from their first language, and the softening words, tone, or structure don't always transfer smoothly into natural English.
Reason 4, simply not knowing the vocabulary. Many learners know "I agree," but never actually learned the equivalent range of phrases for disagreeing smoothly.
Great breakdown. The good news is, English actually has a really rich toolkit of softening phrases specifically designed to make disagreement feel respectful, even when you're being completely honest.
Exactly. And once you learn this toolkit, disagreeing becomes much less scary, and honestly, it becomes a really useful way to build genuine, honest relationships.
Let's build that toolkit now.
Okay, let's build a simple, reliable structure for disagreeing politely, one you can use in almost any situation.
Step 1, a softening opener. This is the magic ingredient. I see what you mean, but... That's a fair point, however. I understand your view, but...
Step 2, your actual opinion, stated clearly but calmly. I think it might work better this way. I'm not sure that's the best approach. I have a slightly different view.
Step 3, optional, a brief reason supporting your view, because I think it saves more time in the long run.
Let's build a full example. I see what you mean, but I think we should consider a different approach, mainly because it might save us more time later.
Perfect. Clear, respectful, and confident all at once. Notice the softening opener doesn't weaken your opinion, it just makes the delivery smoother.
Great point. Let's build another example. That's a fair point. However, I'm not totally convinced this is the best option for our budget.
Beautiful. Let's also mention something important. Tone matters just as much as words here. A calm, curious tone makes even a strong disagreement sound respectful.
True. We'll cover tone more later in the episode. For now, let's build your vocabulary toolbox with even more softening phrases.
Okay, let's go through a range of softening phrases, from gentle to more direct, so you have options for every situation.
Gentle level, great for sensitive topics or people you don't know well. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure I completely agree. Can I offer a different perspective? I see it a little differently.
Medium level, confident but still soft, great for work discussions or debates with friends. I understand your point, but I think that's interesting, though I'd actually argue. I'm not sure that's quite right, actually.
Firmer level, still polite but more direct, useful when you feel strongly about something. I have to disagree with that. Actually, I don't think that's accurate. I see this quite differently, honestly.
Great range, listeners. Notice even the firmer level still sounds completely respectful. No rudeness, no aggression, just honest, clear disagreement.
Let's also cover a few useful transition words that help soften disagreement mid-sentence. However, although, that said, on the other hand, then again.
Let's build examples. That's a valid point. However, I think there might be a better solution. I understand the reasoning, although I'm still not fully convinced.
Great examples. Let's also mention asking questions instead of directly disagreeing, a wonderfully gentle technique many learners forget.
Right. Sometimes a question expresses disagreement more gently than a direct statement. Have you considered, what if we tried instead? Do you think that might cause any issues later?
Beautiful technique, because it invites discussion rather than creating a confrontation while still clearly signaling that you have a different view.
Great toolkit so far, listeners. Let's move on to disagreeing specifically in professional and formal settings.
Okay, let's focus specifically on work meetings, professional emails, and formal discussions, since the tone here often needs to be a bit more careful.
Great point. Useful phrases for meetings. I'd like to offer an alternative perspective. I see it slightly differently, if I may. Could we consider another option here?
Useful phrases for pushing back on an idea respectfully. I appreciate the idea, but I have some concerns about. That could work, though I'd want to think through the risks first.
Great phrases, listeners. Notice how these completely avoid sounding confrontational while still clearly communicating disagreement.
Let's also cover written disagreement, like in an email. Thank you for sharing this. I do have a slightly different view on. I understand the reasoning, though I'd like to suggest an alternative approach.
Great written examples too. Formal, respectful, and clear. Let's also mention disagreeing with someone senior to you, like a manager or professor, since this often feels especially intimidating.
True. Useful phrases here. I completely understand your reasoning, and I just wanted to share a slightly different thought, if that's okay. Would it be all right if I offered another perspective on this?
Great respectful phrasing that shows both confidence and appropriate respect for the relationship without sounding weak or overly submissive.
Beautifully covered. Let's now talk about disagreeing in casual, everyday conversations with friends or family.
Okay, let's shift to a more relaxed setting. With friends or family, disagreement can actually be a bit more direct and casual since the relationship already has trust built in.
True. Useful casual phrases. Nah, I don't really agree with that. I see it differently, honestly. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. I think it's more like.
These are more relaxed, more casual in tone, but still completely respectful between people who know each other well.
Let's build an example. Nah, I don't think that movie was that good, honestly. I found it kind of slow.
Great. Casual, honest, no drama at all. Let's also cover playful disagreement, common between close friends.
Come on, that's not true at all. No way, I totally disagree. Said with a light, friendly tone, this can even feel warm and fun, not rude.
True. Tone really transforms these casual phrases. Said with a smile, no way, I totally disagree, feels playful. Said harshly, it could feel confrontational, so tone remains key even in casual settings.
Beautifully explained. Now let's cover a few common mistakes learners make with this topic.
Mistake 1. Disagreeing too bluntly without any softening language. That's wrong. Said flatly can sound harsh, even if that's not the intention.
True, adding a small softener. I don't think that's quite right, actually. Instantly makes the same idea feel much more respectful.
Mistake 2. Over-apologizing before disagreeing, which can weaken your point too much. I'm so sorry. I really don't want to be rude, but maybe, possibly, I'm not totally sure, but I might slightly disagree. Way too much hedging.
True. One clear softener is enough. You don't need 5 apologies stacked together before sharing your honest opinion.
Mistake 3. Interrupting to disagree. In English conversation, waiting for a natural pause before disagreeing is generally seen as more respectful than cutting someone off mid-sentence.
Great point. And if you do need to jump in, a polite interruption phrase helps. Sorry to interrupt, but can I add something here?
Mistake 4. Repeating no too many times in a row, which can sound overly negative or combative. No, that's not right. No, I disagree. Try varying your language instead.
Mistake 5. Using aggressive body language or tone, even with polite words. Remember, calm delivery matters just as much as vocabulary choice.
Beautifully covered, listeners. Small adjustments, big difference in how your disagreement actually lands.
Quick cultural note before our example conversations. Disagreement styles genuinely vary across English-speaking cultures.
True. In the United States, especially in business settings, direct disagreement is often seen as confident and valuable, as long as it's respectful. People are generally comfortable with open debate.
In the United Kingdom, disagreement is often expressed a bit more indirectly, using understatement and softening language quite heavily, sometimes making the true strength of the disagreement a little harder to detect at first.
In Australia, disagreement tends to be fairly direct too, often blended with humor, similar to their casual apology style we discussed in an earlier episode.
And in many parts of India and South Asia, disagreement, especially with elders, teachers, or people in authority, is often expressed with extra care and respect, sometimes indirectly to preserve harmony and relationships.
Great context, listeners, because it really shows that the right amount of directness depends heavily on who you're speaking with and where that conversation is happening.
Beautifully summarized. Now let's put everything together with a few full example conversations.
Okay, first one, a work meeting disagreement.
I think we should launch the campaign next week. We've done enough testing already.
I see your point, but I actually think we might need a bit more time. A few of the test results seemed a little inconsistent.
That's fair. What would you suggest instead?
Maybe we push the launch back by a week, just to run one more round of testing to be safe.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's do that.
Great. Calm, professional disagreement, listeners. No tension at all. Just a respectful exchange of ideas leading to a good decision.
Now let's do a second one, a casual disagreement between friends about weekend plans. I think we should just stay in this weekend, honestly.
Nah, I don't really agree. I think we need to get out of the house for once.
I get that, but I'm honestly pretty tired from this week.
Fair enough. How about a compromise? A short walk, then we relax at home afterward.
Yeah, actually, that sounds perfect.
Beautiful example, listeners. Casual, honest, and ending in a nice compromise. Exactly how healthy disagreement should feel.
Let's do one more slightly firmer, disagreeing with a family member about a bigger decision.
I really think you should take that job offer. It pays more.
I understand why you'd say that, but honestly, I have to disagree. The salary is higher, but I'd be much less happy there.
I know. I just want you to be financially secure.
I know, and I really appreciate that. I just think happiness matters a lot too, especially long term.
That's a fair point. I hadn't thought about it that way.
See, listeners, notice how firm but warm this disagreement felt, acknowledging the other person's care while still standing confidently by your own honest opinion.
Let's cover a few useful idioms that come up naturally in disagreement and debate conversations.
First, agree to disagree, meaning both people accept they have different opinions without needing to resolve it further.
Well, I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one.
Second, see eye to eye, meaning to share the same opinion, usually used in negative form here. We don't really see eye to eye on this topic.
Third, play devil's advocate, meaning to argue the opposite side, often just to explore an idea more fully, not because you fully believe it. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. What if this plan fails?
Fourth, have a point, meaning acknowledging that someone's argument has some validity even if you don't fully agree. You have a point, but I still think...
Fifth, beg to differ. A polite, slightly formal way to disagree. I beg to differ. I actually think the opposite is true.
Sixth, food for thought, meaning an idea worth considering further, often used to soften a disagreement into something more collaborative. That's food for thought. Let me think about it more.
Let's build an example combining a few. You have a point, but I have to beg to differ overall. Let me play devil's advocate for a moment. What if the opposite happens instead? Anyway, that's food for thought.
Perfect. Natural example, listeners. These idioms instantly add fluency and warmth to disagreement conversations.
Quick FAQ before practice time. From a listener named Hannah. What if I disagree with my boss? I'm scared it'll seem disrespectful.
Great question, Hannah. Using our professional phrases like, I completely understand your reasoning and I just wanted to share a slightly different thought, shows respect while still communicating honestly. Most reasonable managers actually appreciate thoughtful, respectful pushback.
Totally your choice sometimes, Yusuf, especially for small, unimportant disagreements. But for anything that genuinely matters to you, speaking up respectfully is usually healthier long-term than staying silent repeatedly.
Next, from a listener named Lucia. How do I disagree without the conversation turning into an argument?
Great question, Lucia. Staying calm, using our softening phrases, and genuinely listening to the other person's response all help keep disagreement collaborative rather than combative.
Last one, from a listener named Ben. What if the other person gets upset even when I disagree politely?
Good question, Ben. Sometimes that happens, and it's not necessarily a sign you did anything wrong. You can simply say, I understand this might be frustrating. I just wanted to share my honest view. You can control your delivery, not their reaction.
Great questions today, everyone. Thanks for sending them in.
Quick shadowing exercise before practice time. We say a sentence, you repeat it out loud.
Sentence 1. I see what you mean, but I think... Now you.
Sentence 2. That's a fair point. However, now you.
Sentence 3. I'm not totally convinced, honestly. Now you.
Sentence 4. Could we consider another option here? Now you.
Sentence 5. I have to disagree with that. Now you.
Sentence 6. We'll just have to agree to disagree. Now you.
Great job, everyone. Let's also review our full glossary quickly. Gentle disagreement. I might be wrong, but... I'm not sure I completely agree. Can I offer a different perspective?
Medium disagreement. I understand your point, but I think... That's interesting, though I'd argue. I'm not sure that's quite right.
Firmer disagreement. I have to disagree with that. Actually, I don't think that's accurate. I see this quite differently.
Professional settings. I'd like to offer an alternative perspective. I appreciate the idea, but I have some concerns about... Would it be all right if I offered another perspective?
Casual settings. Nah, I don't really agree with that. I'm not so sure about that. I see it differently, honestly.
What a complete toolkit, listeners. Review this glossary before any conversation where you know disagreement might come up.
Let's talk about something just as important as vocabulary. Tone and body language, because the same words can sound completely different depending on delivery.
True, and this connects nicely to what we covered in our shyness episode. A calm, steady tone makes disagreement feel like a genuine exchange of ideas, rather than a confrontation.
Right. Avoid raising your volume or speaking quickly when disagreeing, since both can unintentionally signal frustration or aggression, even if your words are perfectly polite.
Great tip. Let's also mention facial expression. A relaxed, open expression, maybe even a small smile, softens disagreement significantly compared to a tense or frowning expression.
True, and open body language, uncrossed arms, relaxed shoulders, generally signals that you're engaging collaboratively, not defensively.
Let's also mention pacing. Leaving a small pause before disagreeing, rather than jumping in immediately, shows that you've genuinely considered the other person's point first.
Great tip. That little pause alone can transform how respectful a disagreement feels, even before you say a single word.
Beautifully summarized. Let's move on to a slightly trickier area, disagreeing about opinions versus disagreeing about facts.
This is a really useful distinction because the approach shifts slightly depending on whether you're disagreeing about a personal opinion or a factual claim.
True. Let's start with opinions, things like taste, preference, or personal judgment. Here, phrases like, I see it differently, or that's not really my taste, work well, since there's no single correct answer.
For factual disagreements, something that can actually be verified, a slightly different approach helps, focusing on evidence rather than just personal feeling. I don't think that's quite accurate, actually. I read that the numbers were different. Are you sure about that? I thought it was the opposite.
Great distinction. And notice, even for factual disagreements, staying curious and calm rather than combative keeps the conversation productive.
Useful phrase for factual disagreement. I might be misremembering, but I thought. This softens the correction nicely, even when you're fairly confident you're right.
Great tip, listeners. Also, for sensitive topics like political or deeply personal beliefs, extra softening and genuine curiosity go a long way.
I understand why you feel that way. I actually see it a bit differently. Can I share why?
Beautiful phrase, because it invites dialogue instead of shutting the conversation down.
Beautifully summarized. Let's do one more role play before moving to practice time.
Let's set the scene, a language class discussion where students are asked to share opinions on a topic, and two classmates disagree respectfully.
I think social media has mostly been positive for society, honestly. It connects people so easily.
I see your point, and it definitely has some benefits. However, I'd actually argue it's caused more harm than good, especially for mental health.
That's fair. I hadn't really thought about the mental health side as much.
Yeah, I think it really depends on how people use it. What made you feel mostly positive about it?
I guess I mostly think about staying connected with family abroad. It's been really valuable for that.
That's a great point too, honestly. Maybe it's more nuanced than either of us first said.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's probably somewhere in between.
Beautiful example, listeners. Notice how this disagreement actually led to a richer, more thoughtful conversation, rather than a simple win or lose argument.
Exactly. And that's really the ultimate goal of polite disagreement. Not to win, but to genuinely exchange perspectives and understand each other better.
Let's cover one more really useful technique, the sandwich technique. Great for disagreements where you want to be extra gentle, especially with feedback or sensitive topics.
Great tool. The idea is simple. Start with something positive, add your disagreement or concern in the middle, then close with something positive or encouraging again.
Perfect example. Positive opening, honest disagreement in the middle, and a warm, collaborative closing.
This technique works especially well in professional feedback or with people who might be sensitive to direct criticism.
Great point, though worth mentioning, this technique isn't necessary for every disagreement. Small, everyday disagreements don't need this much structure. It's really best saved for more sensitive or important conversations.
Great distinction, listeners. Use your judgment based on the situation and relationship.
Let's do one final role play, this time over text message, since written disagreement is incredibly common these days too. Group chats, work messages, and more.
Hey, I think we should go with the blue design for the flyer. It looks cleaner.
I see what you mean. I actually lean more towards the green one, though. I think it stands out more. What do you think?
Fair point. I hadn't thought about it standing out. Maybe we ask the team for a quick vote.
Sounds good. That seems like a fair way to decide.
See, listeners, notice how naturally this text disagreement flowed, using a softening phrase, a genuine question, and a collaborative solution, all in just a few short messages.
Beautifully demonstrated, and honestly, this exact structure works perfectly for disagreements over any messaging app, email, or online comment thread.
Great final example. Okay, now let's move to a couple more listener questions before practice time.
From a listener named Sarah, is it okay to disagree with someone online, in comments or group chats?
Great question, Sarah. Yes, but written disagreement benefits even more from softening language since tone can be easily misread in text. Adding a friendly emoji or a softener like, "I see it a bit differently," helps a lot online.
From a listener named Omar, what if I realize halfway through that I was actually wrong?
Wonderful, honest question, Omar. It's completely fine and actually really respected to say, "Actually, you know what? I think you're right. I hadn't considered that." Changing your mind gracefully is a real strength, not a weakness.
Beautifully answered. Okay, now let's really move to practice time.
Okay, listeners, let's practice. Speak your answers out loud, not just in your head.
First, disagree gently with a small opinion, like a friend's movie recommendation, using our gentle level phrases.
Second, disagree in a professional setting, imagining a work meeting, using our medium or professional level phrases.
Third, practice a firmer disagreement, imagining a topic you feel strongly about, while still staying polite.
Fourth, practice asking a question instead of directly disagreeing, like, "Have you considered?"
Fifth, try using one idiom from today's episode in a natural sentence, out loud.
Great job, everyone. Comment below with one disagreement phrase you're going to start using this week.
Quick recap. First, we learned the basic structure for polite disagreement, a softening opener, your opinion, and an optional brief reason.
Second, we built vocabulary across 3 levels, gentle, medium, and firmer, all still respectful.
Third, we covered disagreeing in professional and formal settings, including with people senior to you.
Fourth, we explored casual disagreement with friends and family, where tone plays an especially big role.
Fifth, we avoided common mistakes like being too blunt, over-apologizing, or interrupting.
Sixth, we explored cultural notes on how disagreement styles shift across English-speaking countries.
Seventh, we learned useful idioms like agree to disagree and play devil's advocate.
And finally, we practiced 3 full example conversations: work, friends, and family.
That's everything you need to disagree honestly, respectfully, and confidently in any English-speaking situation.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Next time you disagree with someone in English, try using one of today's phrases, even just one.
If this episode helped you, please like it, subscribe to the podcast, and share it with someone learning English.
And comment below. Tell us your favorite disagreement phrase from today's episode.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone, and remember, disagreeing well is a skill, not a personality flaw. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.